All right, I'm Troy and you're watching TroyTube, and today we're going to talk about building software applications with AI, and we're going to do a little bit of prep work to get ready for that, so stick around. Now, today is July 5th, and I am dead tired today. Yesterday, July 4th, a lot of people had a lot of fun at the resort celebrating America's 250th birthday, and I was there for like 18 hours, and my watch said I walked 9.97 miles at work yesterday, so I'm a little tired today. But today we're going to talk about making content. We're going to do a little bit of prep work on the computer after I get done talking here, so stick around for that. And at the end of the video, I'm going to show you some video of the fireworks on Fort Myers Beach last night. So we're going to be making content and writing some software applications using AI. Now, we're going to be mostly working with Claude AI. I'll talk more about that in a minute. And what, some of the video, in the videos, I wanted to let you know up front, there's going to be certain things that are fundamentals that apply across the board, such as maybe something that applies to PHP or a web server versus specific application things. So I'll try to always remember to tell you when we have those situations, but I apologize up front if I forget, but I'll try to always stay on top of that. Now, what can we do with AI? AI came into play for me a couple of years ago. I was working on a piece of software that I needed to fix something, and I asked ChatGPT to fix it. And I didn't know enough technical specifics about the problem. If I did, and I knew what to tell ChatGPT, I think it could have fixed it. And then fast forward a couple of years, I'm at work last summer and start using AI to build some software applications and to create some documents and things and sort some data that I didn't want to do. It was like everything I come across that I said to myself, I wish I just had an assistant that would do this for me. That's where AI came in. And for $20 a month with Claude, I have an assistant that can do many, many things that increase my productivity level, because I don't have to be dragged down with certain basic tasks that are just time consuming. Because something that might take me an hour to sort through some data, ChatGPT can do it in a minute or less and instantly give me what I'm looking for. And the different platforms out there, they're ChatGPT, Claude, Lovable, what's the other one? Replit. There's different scales, different focuses. They all have their own pros and cons. Right now, I may explore some of these other ones, but right now we're going to be working with Claude Code and working on our local hard drive in a folder. We're not using GitHub or anything like that. That'll all come later. And like I said, I have a subscription to Claude. I pay the $20 a month. And the interesting thing about that is that there's usage limits. So I'll get to a certain point, it'll say you've used your limits today. And I think there's a weekly limit too. But at first I didn't like that, but now it was really, when I look back on it, I think it was a good thing, because it forced me to stop, walk away from it, and think, rather than just being so consumed in the moment of developing software and testing and all of the other things that come along with that. And when you break away and get outside the box a little bit, that's when your thinking gets done. At least it is for me. Now, we're going to be working on some different software applications, and we're going to start pretty basic. We're going to do some things are going to be very useful applications. Some of them will be just basic things to learn. One of the way I ended up, I'm big on data. I love data. I love lots of data, and especially when you have lots of data that you can run reports on and mine the data and make decisions based on it. When you're making the right decision because the data supports your decision. I've just always been that way. And back in the early 90s, I bought a Packard Bell computer when I worked at a Sam's Club, and it came with software called Microsoft Works. So if you're old enough to remember that, it was like a real basic version of Microsoft Office. It had a word processor, a spreadsheet, a database, and I think it had a presentation program. But none of them were compatible with anything else, really. I think you could do like rich text files in the word processor or something, but other things were very, if you wanted basic files out of it, like a comma delimited data file or something like that, I think you could do that, but you couldn't take your spreadsheet over to Excel or vice versa. But one day I opened it up and it said create a database, and I thought, well, I'm going to learn this today, and I clicked it and I went through the little wizard and created like an address book. So that's the first thing we're probably going to build, is like a real basic address book. And we'll talk about databases, we'll talk about relational databases, we'll talk about some flat file stuff probably, but we're going to be living mostly in the MySQL world for the intents and purposes of these videos. And we'll get through this, and we'll build some fun things together. Like I said, some of it's going to be very basic learning things. Others are going to be very robust, useful applications. And the beautiful thing about writing code in Claude is that you don't have to be an expert in any one platform, or you don't have to be constrained to a platform. For example, if you're a PHP and MySQL software developer, you usually don't go too far outside of that. If you're a C++ developer, you usually don't go too far outside of that. There's all these fundamentals that are the same across different programming languages, I should say. But how you do something, or what you need to accomplish, is the same thing. It's how you write the program to do it is what differs. It's almost just like a different language, literally verbal language. You say the same things, but it's different. It sounds different. Okay, the code will do the same things, but it looks different in a lot of cases. And we're going to work on web applications. We're going to probably do some scripting. I did one yesterday at work that was really cool, just kind of blew me away. So I'll do a video on that at some point. And we'll be hosting this on a web server on our local computer. If you want to go get a hosting account to host it on a public website, you can. You don't have to. We're going to work locally for now, just for the purposes of learning, and we're going to keep it very simple when it comes to that. Today we're going to set up a web server so that you can get started on this, and we're going to do it right on a Windows computer. It's real easy to set it up and test it, and so we're going to move over to the computer. I'll get this going, and then after this, we'll look at some fireworks from last night. The first thing we need to do is to install software that will let us run a web server and a database server on our local computer, and we're just going to access it on our local computer. You're not on the internet or anything like that, as long as you're on, behind the firewall or something, which most of you would be. So one of the first thing we're going to do is go to this website, ApacheFriends.org. And when you get there, you'll see that it is a product called XAMPP, XAMPP. And XAMPP contains several different pieces in it. The main pieces we're looking for are going to be Apache, which is the web server, MariaDB, which is basically MySQL database, and PHP for the scripting and HTML portion of the software. So we're going to download the Windows version. And for now, we can click that, and it will start your download automatically. You'll see it pop up here in the top right corner. Or if it doesn't, you can click here, and it will force the download. Now, in my case, it says an unverified download was blocked. So I have to click on that and tell it to download the unverified file. As long as you're on ApacheFriends.org, this is safe to do. Now, once the file's downloaded, you'll want to go into your Downloads folder and double-click on the installer file for XAMPP. And you'll want to install it. And if you're running an antivirus, it may give you this warning, and generally I just hit yes, I want to continue, and I ignore that. And then it will give you another warning for user access control. You just have to hit OK on that. And then we will install it using the default settings. Default location, which installs to your C drive, English, and I'm going to uncheck this because we don't need any of this automatic installer type stuff here, and just let the installer finish. Alright, and at the end of the installation, it will have a checkbox asking if you want to open the control panel now, and we're going to leave that checked and hit finish, and you will see control panel open. And there's a couple things with this. One, the applications are installed, but they're not running by default, and the default way that you have to get them loaded is to open the control panel and actually click the start buttons on them. and these are the two that we want right now. Now, if you want, we can install them as services, but that'll require admin rights and a couple other steps. And we're just going to leave this here for now. And when we're not running it, we'll stop it and kill it. And maybe in a later video, or if you want to do it yourself, you can set it up as a service. That's up to you. So now that it's installed, and you see it tells us that our ports are port 80 and 443. So 80 is your standard HTTP web server port, and 443 is your default port for SSL communications. And then MySQL communicates on port 3306. So what's going to happen is when our web application that we're accessing on the web interface interacts with the database, it will talk to it on port 3306 on its local computer in this case. Now the way we test this is to just open the web browser and we type in the word localhost. And when you do and you hit enter, you should get the local host and it should redirect you to the dashboard and you should see this page. And if you do, you are all set. If you don't, you need to go back through the video and watch it again and just go through the steps. You've missed something because this is a really basic thing to get set up and running. Alright, so there you have it, the basic installation for XAMPP, which gives you the web server database and everything that you need to get started on this. And our next video, we're going to get started on our very first application. So here's some video of the fireworks from last night, so enjoy it.